हाँ आगे चलो ये स्विच राइट अबे आओ
Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama double time. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Bolo Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Evil. Kiba Jaya Jaya Gaura Chandin Aratika Soba. Kiba Jaya Jaya Gaura Chandin Aratika Soba. Janavitavane Jagamanaloba. Janavitavane Jagamanaloba. Nakininitai chan Mame gadadaram. Nikate advaita sini Vasachatradhara. Osi ache gorachan Ratna simhasanem. Arati korena Brahma Adineva jane. Hari Adi Kori Chamaradulaya Anjaya Mukunda Basu Kosaya Sankha Bhaje Kanta Bhaje Bhaje Karatalam Sankha Bhaje Kanta Bhaje Bhaje Karatalam Madhura Mridanga Bhaje Hara Marasala Madhura Mridanga Bhaje Paramarasala Sankha Bhaje Kanta Bhaje Madhur Madhur Madhura Bhaje 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 Madhura 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 Bhaje Madhura 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 Bhaje Madhura 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 Bhaje Madhura 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 Bhaje Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Bahu Koti Chandra Jini Vadana Ujala Bahu Koti Chandra Jini Vadana Ujala माला देसे बना माला ओरे जलमाला शिवा सुख नारदा प्रेमे गदगादा शिवा सुख नारदा प्रेमे गदगादा पकति विनोद देखे गोरार संपादा पकति विनोद देखे गोरार संपादा जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद
नित्यानंद बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल तो नित्यानंद बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल तो नित्यानंद बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल नित्यानंद बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल और नित्यानंद बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल नित्यानंद बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल बोल नित्यानंद बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल बोल नित्यानंद बोल हरि 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 बोल बोल नित्यानंद बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल नंदा बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल। बोल नित्यानंदा बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल। हरि बोल 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 हरि बोल। हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे किशोरी किशोरे गायो किशोरी किशोरी किशोरे जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेव जय सुभद्रा जय बलदेव जय सुभद्रा निताय गौरांग जय निताय गौरांगो निताय गौरांग जय निताय गौरांगो निताय गौरांग जय गौरा हरे निताय गौरांग जय गौरा हरे गौरा 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 हरे गौरा 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 हरे गौरा 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 हरे
विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिवाचार्य श्रोत्र श्री श्रीमद भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की, इस्कॉन फाउंडर आचार्य श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिवाचार्य श्रोत्र श्री श्रीमद भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की, नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की। श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की। श्री वृंदावन मथुरा धाम की। श्री नवदीप मायापुर धाम की। पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की। गंगा माई यमुना माई की। भक्ति देवी तुलसी देवी की। सामवेद भक्त वृंद की। All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Kala dala dadahine. Hiranyakashipo vakshaha. Dhana khayale. Ito narsingma parato narsingma. Yato yato yami tato narsingma. Pahe Narasimha, Hridaye Narasimha. Narasimha Made Sharana Prapade. Tavakara Kamala Vare Nakha. Adbhuta Singha Dalita Hiranyakashipo Tanubhenga Keshavagita Narahari Rupa Sajagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jagadisha Hare. Jaya प्रहलाद जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद Hari bol, Nita Gora Hari bol.
श्री नरसिंहदेव भगवान की जय, प्रहलाद महाराज की जय, काय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। श्री श्री किशोर किशोरी भगवान की जय, जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी सुदर्शन चक्र जी की जय, श्री गौरताय की जय। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So welcome all of you. Thank you so much for coming to the Sunday Feast program on behalf of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. We welcome you all to our Sunday Feast program. So before we start any announcements or our program, I just wanted to check, is there anybody who is come for the first time to the temple? Okay, there. So we have some gift for you. These little kids can you keep your hands up so they know that you're first timers? Yeah, so they can give you a small gift. So please do come. Every Sunday we do have this program, wonderful program. We start with a nice kirtan as you just experienced. We have small talk on philosophy and then very sumptuous prasadam, at the end of the day. And of course we have a kirtan at the end also. So today marks the beginning of the most auspicious month of Kartik. So we will be having a Damodar Ashtakam here after at 7:30. Okay, the lights will be off. Everybody will get a chance to wave a ghee lamp to the lordships. So please stay back. After prasadam, there will be kirtan, and after that we'll have Damodar Ashtakam here. So please stay back and experience this wonderful event. I request all to stay back here. To begin with, we have today's class will be given by Her Grace Arudha Mataji. She is coming all the way from Naperville to give this class to us. So we'll welcome her right there. You can welcome her with a big Hari Bol. Hari Bol! So she is especially known for writing her books and giving seminars on homeschooling through Srimad Bhagavatam. And our topic today is relishing Srimad Bhagavatam, the essence of Kartik. So thank you so much, Mataji, for coming. She'll be sitting here. Please face this side and keep your mobiles on silent. Thank you.
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरवरधारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरवरधारी। यशोदनंदन ब्रज जन रंजन। 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 यमुना तीरा वनचारी। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Kishore Kishori Jaya Kishore Kishori Jaya Kishore Kishori Jaya Kishore Kishori Jaya Jagana Jaya Jagana Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Jaya Gauranita 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 Jaya Gauranita Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Hare Krishna. So today is a very auspicious day, the first day of Kartik, and a very, very sacred day. There's a lot of wonderful activities going on in Vrindavan, the home of Lord Krishna, and we are here trying to follow in the footsteps of that mood and trying to imbibe the mood of Kartik today. So I will begin with the invocation first. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnana Tirumandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Vena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. So, like the topic of my talk today is relishing Srimad Bhagavatam, the essence of Kartik. I want to talk a little bit about Kartik and the different things that we can imbibe during this special month that we have. And then I will get into one of these special items that we should imbibe, and that is relishing Srimad Bhagavatam. So, like all of you must have heard wonderful classes by very special devotees by now on the significance of Kartik. Kartik is a very special month. It's actually a month where there's a special pastime, the Damodar pastime, where Mother Yashoda catches Krishna red-handed. Now Krishna is caught as a thief. Now just imagine, Krishna is fear personified. He's giving direction to Lord Yamaraj to take care of all the sinful people who come to him. And here he's acting in a way where he's actually a thief and and Mother Yashoda has caught him and he's afraid of a stick. Now when Mother Yashoda catches Krishna with red-handed, then Krishna has his head down. That's what a criminal does, right? If a criminal is caught, then what does he do? He puts his head down. So Krishna is caught by Mother Yashoda, and he's really actually fearful, and he's rubbing his eyes, and he's very, very fearful. So here is this Lord who's fear personified, who fears, everyone fears Lord Krishna in form of death. Because material life is temporary, and everybody has to face this ultimate test called death. And there's fear, right? We see how fear is such a big factor in material life that we can see all over, not just among humans, but animals also, right? If you throw some grains to the birds, they come and eat it, and immediately as they take one grain, they're looking everywhere, even before they pick up that grain. Even a dog, he's always watching when he's doing anything because he's afraid of somebody coming with a stick or something, right? So everybody is really, full of fear in material life. But here Krishna, who is himself fear personified, he's also appearing to be fearful of Mother Yashoda's stick. So this is the sweet Leela of Krishna, in this Damodar month where he's caught red-handed by Mother Yashoda. So that's why it's a very special month. But it's also a month where it's called Radha Damodar month. Radha Damodar. Krishna is always coupled with Radharani. Why so? If the pastime is about Mother Yashoda and him stealing butter, why is this month called Radha Damodar month? Anybody has any ideas or thoughts? Anybody? Well, this is very interesting. And the other day, His Holiness Romapa Swami was giving class, and he said that it's known as Radha Damodar month is because at some point, Radharani also caught Krishna red-handed, and she tied him up. So that's why it's also called Radha Damodar month. Now, Radharani's another name is Kartika, because she's the daughter of Kirtida. But actually, her name is Kritida. So the daughter's name becomes Kartika. Okay, so she's also known as Kartika. So she's the queen of this queen of Vrindavan. She's the queen of Kartik, of the month of Kartik, and that's why we also celebrate it as a month where Radharani, controls Krishna by her love and ties him up. So these are the few thoughts I had. Now, so in the month of Kartik, many great saints, they suggest that we take some vows. It's very nice to take some vows in the month of Kartik. And what kind of vows is all up to us. Something that we want to give up, something that's very dear to us. Naturally, if you give up something we don't like, that's not really a sacrifice, right? Like suppose we like sweets, and we give up sweets on that month of Kartik. Well, that's a vow. That's a nice vow. Because we are showing Krishna through that austerity, that how much we love and care for him. Of course, a vow could be, I want to chant 25 rounds in the whole month of Kartik. It's actually even a nicer vow, right? So we vow that, okay, or we'll get up for Mangal Arati for this 1 month. Or we're going to read, and one of those vows could be that we read Srimad Bhagavatam every day. And so now this episode of Damodar Leela is given in Srimad Bhagavatam. That's where all the devotees get this beautiful Leela from. And then we hear commentaries by different acharyas on this, and from other books, by the acharyas, we hear more and more about the Leela of Lord Damodar, who's, with Mother Yashoda, right? So this is given in Srimad Bhagavatam. So obviously we can understand the importance of relishing Srimad Bhagavatam, because this is where we get all our, knowledge from and the leelas from. So Bhagavatam has all 12 cantos, and one has to read Bhagavatam systematically to be able to relish the 10th canto in which these stories, these beautiful leelas are given. Otherwise, it's not possible to actually understand how Krishna, as a little boy, he can be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even Lord Brahma was under illusion when he, in the Brahma Vimohan Leela, when he actually saw that he was thinking that Krishna is an ordinary boy, and that's why he wanted to test him. And so he stole all the cowherds and all the cows and put them in a cave. And when Krishna came back, because the cows had actually wandered away, and Krishna had gone looking, and when he came back, all the cowherd boys had disappeared. Brahma had stolen them. And Krishna, of course, he showed how distressed he was initially, but then he quickly expanded himself into similar cowherd boys, just exactly like they were before. And when Mother Yashoda, when Brahma saw that, he was really perplexed. He kept going to the cave and to test whether the boys were there. And they were still, he had put them into a slumber. And they were all sleeping, and he was really surprised. So he quickly goes back to where they were initially eating their lunch. And he sees the same boys over there. And then he quickly runs back, and he sees them again. And he's going back and forth, back and forth. And he's so perplexed. He's so perplexed. And he's thinking, how could this happen? I mean, he's the most intelligent. He's the most intelligent person. Something that happens to him, this illusory trick that happens to him, is not an ordinary thing. Krishna, when Brahma is illusioned, is different from our getting illusioned by different things in the material world. When Brahma gets illusioned, it's something, a bigger illusion, because he's not ordinary. In fact, Brahma can never get illusioned, because he's beyond, he's a great devotee of the Lord, right? But yet Krishna put him under illusion just to give us the point that how anybody is not free from this big illusory energy of the Lord. And so then eventually Brahma, he sees Krishna takes mercy on him. So when Krishna puts such great personality or like Brahma under illusion, there is a very deep purpose. Then, right after that, he shows his spiritual world, and he shows really who he is. And that Krishna will do only to a very special soul, right? When he puts under illusion, he's not going to reveal himself. We have to work on that to get out of this illusion. But when he puts Brahma in illusion, he immediately after that, he revealed himself, right? Who he actually is. And then he reveals the entire spiritual world, the Golok Vrindavan. So this is, how Krishna, tricks, shows this even great devotees under illusion just to teach us a lesson. So in this way, Brahma he sees Krishna and he realizes, oh, this Krishna is Supreme Lord, not the Vishnu who is my Ishtadev. Who is that Vishnu? Who's the Ishtadev for Brahma? What do you think? Yeah, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Because why? Because Brahma comes out from the navel of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. So that's naturally that Garbhodakshaya Vishnu who's as big as the entire universe. When Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, he lies on the Garbha ocean, his size is as big as the universe. This is how he understands Krishna, right? As the Supreme Lord, as a personality from whom all creation takes place. Everything is within the Lord. And the stem and the lotus flower, the stem itself has all the planetary systems. The entire universe is within the stem and the lotus. This is Lord. This is Krishna, right? But then when he sees when he sees the Lord, who's turned himself into these cowherd boys, turn into Narayan, and all these Narayans, and Narayan is the Supreme Lord, is his Ishtadev, right? When he sees them all turn into Narayans, then he realizes, oh, and all the different devatas and potencies are worshipping him with different hymns and stutis, right? Then he realizes, oh, the Supreme Lord is none other than Krishna, who's playing in the fields of Vrindavan, barefoot, with no shoes on also. So this is the Supreme Lord. And this is what really the Damodar month is showing us. Is giving us attraction for this beautiful little boy, the blue-eyed boy. I mean the blue-colored boy with a peacock feather. So the idea of Kartik is to find attraction in this form of the Lord, to understand how the Lord is none other, the original form of the Lord is none other than Lord Shri Krishna. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam. Then keep moving. Yeah. Okay. So, because the theme today is that why we should relish Srimad Bhagavatam, which is really the essence of Kartik. So I want to give some quotes by Srila Prabhupada on reading Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srila Prabhupada says, now we understand, first of all, why we are glorifying Prabhupada's quotes and Prabhupada is because if it hadn't been for Srila Prabhupada, we would not have Srimad Bhagavatam today, right? Prabhupada, we know that he came to this country at the old age of 69. And he spent a whole lifetime of preparation in India. And what was this lifetime in preparation really was the translation, his meditation on Srimad Bhagavatam, and the translation of the first canto that he did at the Radha Damodar temple under great austerity. Because Prabhupada, when he wanted to act on the orders of his spiritual master, that he should go to the West and give and preach and print books. So we understand that his main mission for coming here was to give the knowledge of these books. It was really not to open temples. That was naturally one of the things that he did. But the heart of his mission was to translate and publish Srimad Bhagavatam. Because he knew that these books were so powerful, they would revolutionize the thinking of this misdirected civilization today. And as Prabhupada was translating these books, the devotees were distributing them on the streets. And they were distributing all the cantos, all the way till 9th canto, they were distributing. And they would come back and tell Prabhupada the number of books they distributed, and Prabhupada would be so happy. And Prabhupada's journey here was full of, it was an arduous journey. It is said that when he went on the ship, Jaladuta, right after that, he actually, and the ship started to sail, he started to feel seasick. Even after when he went at the Bay of Bengal, and he landed, at Cochin, where all his books came. He was actually getting quite sick. And then when he reached Ceylon, Sri Lanka, he was feeling very, very seasick. And the captain took him on a tour of Colombo, right, to help him with his seasickness. So in other words, his journey was very, very difficult. As we know, he also had 2 heart attacks on the way. So in other words, Prabhupada, what he went through to give us these books. And even when he came to America, we know, we may have read, right, in Ililamath, those early days were not easy at all. I mean, he lost his typewriter and everything he had that he brought, very few dollars and everything. He lost everything. Somebody came and stole it. He was attacked by somebody with a knife who was trying to attack him, and he was running on the street. What Prabhupada went through. And then finally, when he actually found something, a little storefront, and he started his mission, that's when he started translating these books. After sleeping for like 3 or 4 hours every day, he would sleep, I think, at 10 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and get up at 1. And for several hours, he was translating these beautiful books. In one of the quotes that I'm going to be reading here, Prabhupada talks about that. This is another quote by Srila Prabhupada. Every day you have to read my books. Do you know that every day I read my own books? Do you know why I read my books? I read my books every day because even I learn something new when I read them. Do you know why I learn something new when I read my books? Because these books are not my books. I do not write these books. Every morning when I sit here to write my books, Krishna comes personally and he dictates to me what I write. I simply take dictation from Krishna and I write these books. Therefore, when I read them, even I learn something. See, even Srila Prabhupada was reading his books. So why shouldn't we read his books? And Prabhupada emphasized that in many, many quotes. He even, and this is why he started the degree program, the Bhakti Shastri degree program. So it was inaugurated by Srila Prabhupada. And then, of course, now we have the Bhakti Vaibhav, Bhakti Vedanta degrees. He even suggested Bhakti Vaibhav degree for sannyasis. He said, if you don't read my books, and how will you preach? And what to speak of us? So very important. So Srimad Bhagavatam is both for conditioned souls and liberated souls. So this is another wonderful quote by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada has a strong desire that his followers read Srimad Bhagavatam, including children. He writes, our students specifically, they should take care of reading Srimad Bhagavatam. We have therefore prescribed in our school Dallas. Even astronomy, astrology, politics, atomic theory, everything is there. Therefore, if you study Srimad Bhagavatam very carefully, then you will get all knowledge completely. At another time, he said, throughout the whole world, whatever knowledge is there is in the Srimad Bhagavatam. If one simply reads the Srimad Bhagavatam, his education is the topmost. If one studies Srimad Bhagavatam, he is well versed in every subject matter. And these are just two of the many, many quotes Srila Prabhupada spoke on the necessity of reading Srimad Bhagavatam. It has everything, all subject matter. And he even recommended that for children in Gurukulas. Actually, in Dallas, he began that, the study of Srimad Bhagavatam for our children. So there's geography, there's science, there's social studies. Prabhupada said that one can understand every psychological situation when one reads Srimad Bhagavatam. So many problems in the world today, one can get all solution from Srimad Bhagavatam. So let's talk about some of the things that Srimad Bhagavatam can give us, that we may have realized, right? So the first one is that it's a timeless classic. In other words, it's timeless. It never gets. What does a classic mean? Anybody has any ideas? What would make a classic? What would be the qualities of a classic?
Changing and valuable throughout all the time.
Yes. In other words, it's relevant at all times and in all places. It's relevant. Huh? For example, Shakespeare is a classic, right? And it's been read through the ages, through many, many generations, right? And it's a classic because it's not like a book, like a travel guide. You know, when you go to China or something, you have a travel guide. Well, you need it, right? You have to figure out where to go, which places to see. But then after the visit is over, you have to keep it away. You can't say that, okay, I need to keep reading that book. No. But can you say that for Bhagavad Gita? No. You can't say that, oh, I've read Bhagavad Gita, I'm done with it now. No, we know that we have to keep reading it again and again, right? So that becomes a classic when it's relevant for all times, for any period of time. It's been a classic. It's been for many generations. It's been a classic. Actually, among the three books that's been a classic is Ramayana, Mahabharata, and Srimad Bhagavatam. Even today, many of the museums and places in some countries of the world, you can see art from Srimad Bhagavatam. You know, in Cambodia, they discovered an artwork of Krishna lifting the Govardhan hill in the 13th century. So another thing is, let's go to the next one. It is not just moral stories, but is much deeper. Now, moral stories cannot be classics. I mean, you hear some basic principles of morality. It's relevant for children, right? Value education is relevant for children. But for adults, you say, well, I don't need these things. We don't need to hear, okay, I have to, these things, I have to love my neighbor or honor my father, mother. We know these things already, right? We need something deeper. So it's more than, it's not just moral stories, it's more than that. It's very, very deep. For example, the story of Dhruva Maharaj. When you think about it, Dhruva Maharaj, he tries to sit on the lap of his father. Of course, his brother, half-brother, Uttama is already on the lap, but he also wants to get on the lap of his father. And we know the story of how Suruchi, his stepmother, was very, very mean and harsh to her and said, you cannot sit on the lap of your father. You cannot even become king because he was the eldest. Because you have been born from a very unfortunate woman who's not even fit to be a maidservant of the king. So what you have to do is you have to go and please the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and when He's pleased with you, then you can take birth in my womb and you can sit on the lap of your father. What a cruel thing to say, right? Very, very cruel. So she was very harsh. In other words, she wished death for Dhruva. So now Dhruva, obviously, and what did the father do? The father also did not show any signs of giving comfort to Dhruva. He did not pick him up or pacify him, or he supported Suruchi and ignored him. Now that really hurt Dhruva. Now we all know that being harsh as she was, Suruchi must have been harsh earlier in Dhruva's life. It's not possible that she said these harsh words only at that time. She's probably discriminated against, Dhruva and favored her son, probably not giving him his favorite toy or food or so many ways, right? So probably Dhruva was already used to that harshness from his mother. But it really affected him was when his father did not show any emotional support that he could have. That this is what really hurt him, and this is what made him very angry. But right after that, we see how when he goes crying to his real mother, Suniti, how did Suniti react to that? She actually, she agreed with her co-wife, and said, actually, Dhruva, guess what? Your mother is correct. That you actually cannot sit on the lap of your father, because she's right. I'm not even fit to be a maidservant. And she's right that if you do want to sit, and you have this strong desire to sit as a king also of the world, that's what Dhruva expressed. He wanted to become a king greater than his father or great-grandfather, Lord Brahma. So if you have that desire, then you should go and please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And you must follow that. In other words, instead, so she shows great character. She shows great character. How, in spite of her great pain that she was experiencing for herself, being mistreated in this way, but to see the pain of her own son, that was something that was too much for her to bear. But yet she tolerated everything, and she gave an advice which shaped the future of Dhruva Maharaj for all times. So we see this story of Dhruva Maharaj is not just a moral story. How deep it gets. And it doesn't even end over there. And then she says that, oh, so if you need to please the Supreme Lord, you must go and find him. Go to the forest, because this is where I heard the Lord lives, where the sages live. Go there and find him. In other words, she's telling Dhruva that, okay, you're a Kshatriya, well then go there and find the Lord. Such a brave mother, right? Such a brave mother. And Dhruva leaves home. And when he leaves home, he meets Narad Muni. Of course, the Lord arranged this in such a way that he would get some guidance. And Narad Muni tells him that, Dhruva, this is not good that you have left home. You're just a little child. It's your age to just play. I mean, people, how with children, you tell them something, you may even tell them in a harsh way. They don't really get it. I mean, they don't, feel insulted. I mean, they don't have emotions of feeling insulted or honored. Maybe a little bit. Actually, nowadays, I see children, you tell them anything and they're just like, they feel very, very, hurt and insulted and offended. But he was just a child, and he said, you go back home. And Dhruva said, his Kshatriya spirit did not allow that. And then he says, when he sees Dhruva that he does not accept that, then he says, well, Dhruva, you've taken up a process, the Ashtanga Yoga. People were doing Ashtanga Yoga at that time, a process which is very, very difficult. Even yogis are not successful in that process for thousands of years. How can you, as a child, can do that? Obviously, he was a king's child, and he must have learned Ashtanga Yoga, but it was not going to be easy. And the third reason he gives for him to go back is that, insult and injury, insult and honor, these things are very temporary. We are spirit, soul, and we should not be affected by that. Now, Dhruva, being very, very intelligent, he said, yes, this is a very good reason, but I cannot accept this reason. My heart is not able to accept this. Please give me another set of instruction. So you can see, and this was a pretty scary thing. He's telling his guru, I cannot obey you. You give me another set of instructions. And that's when Narad Muni was just testing him. And then he left home. And then he gave him the mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Right? So in other words, it was his determination, which Dhruva is very famous for. Dhruva means determination. Dhruva is known for his determination. His determination came not from a Kshatriya spirit, that one would think, right? He's a Kshatriya, right? But it came from the instructions of his mother. The instructions that she gave him, put him on the right path, the strength that she gave him, the explanation that she gave him, that anger is not going to get you anywhere. Revenge is not going to get you anywhere. You're just going to be simply the loser, because when you get angry with somebody or you get envious of somebody, that same thing will come back to you. What is going to help you is when you surrender to the Lord, when you please the Lord. This is where his strength came. And then when he left home, he had enough. He was determined to find the Lord. And of course, we know the rest of the story. By his austerities, just in 6 months, he was able to see Lord Narayan and fulfill that instruction of his Guru Maharaj, Narad Muni, that you should rise above insult and honor. And he was successful. So we see this simple story of Dhruv Maharaj that we generally give our children, as like a story talking about determination. It's not really just a story about determination. Sometimes we want to be determined, but we cannot be determined due to circumstances, right? We may not have the resources that will help us to become determined. So in this way, it's a deep story. So Bhagavatam is full of such deep stories, which really helps shape our character, which is really the essence of devotional life, is to develop good character. Prabhupada said, if you don't have good character, then it's like decorations on a dead body. So we see in Bhagavatam, story after story, these stories are meant to give us a higher purpose in life. And so we see how, and many of these, many conflicts, many problems of material life can be solved through the pages of Bhagavatam. Just about every subject matter is there. We see how in the world today, there's so much strife, right? Brother fighting with brother. Even mother with son, they don't get along, right? All types of problems, right? Strife between husband and wife, so much divorce. Now, all these problems, the answers to these problems are given in Srimad Bhagavatam, in different sections of Srimad Bhagavatam, where one can model one's life, learn those essential principles that govern, that help us to live here in a peaceful and happy way. So in other words, Bhagavatam is full with meaning. It overflows with meanings. In other words, there's not just, they have so many, in other words, some instruction in the Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita we can find which will be meaningful at different times in our life. In other words, if we are a young grahastha right now, Bhagavatam will speak to us in that way. There are verses in the Bhagavatam that are speaking to young grahastha couples, right? And those verses will speak louder than any other verse. As a brahmachari is going to, there are verses that will speak as a brahmachari. As a vanaprastha, there are verses that will speak to us, that we can shape our life accordingly. And also sannyas. So an example of that is how Arjuna, in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, when he did not want to fight, he told Krishna he doesn't want to fight, because he was a good man, a man who was a very soft-hearted in reality, and he did not want to kill his relatives. He rather preferred to go to the forest and retire and do his bhakti there, right? But Krishna said, no, you have to do your duty as a Kshatriya, but you do it for me, right? So he said, give up all religious principles, sarva dharman parityajya mame sharanam vraja. So he said, give up all duties and just simply surrender to me. Now that same instruction, later on, in his life, when he went to Dwarka, Yudhishthira Maharaj, I think it's in the 15th chapter, Pandavas retire timely, maybe, yeah. And so when he goes, when Yudhishthira Maharaj sends him to Dwarka to find out what Krishna's plans were. They were all feeling separation from Krishna. The Pandavas were very, very, very close associates of the Lord. So, so Yudhishthira Maharaj, when he saw bad omens in the sky, he sends Arjuna to Dwarka and say, why don't you go and find out why these omens are? If Krishna is on the planet, these bad omens cannot happen. It's impossible. Something is going on. Something is wrong. So he sends Arjuna to Dwarka, and Arjuna finds out that actually Krishna has left the world, this earthly planet, and gone back. And he comes back and tells, and he's very dejected. He's very despondent because he's feeling the separation of the Lord. And how does he get out of this despondency? It says in the Bhagavatam, Prabhupada explains so nicely, is when he remembers the same instruction of the Lord, that the instructions that the Lord gave him on the battlefield. So the same instruction, and that gave him so much strength that he was willing to, he decided to leave everything and go to the Himalayas and prepare for his journey back home, back to Godhead. So that instruction in the beginning, inspired him to fight and do his duty as a young Kshatriya. And that same instruction, when he was older and it was time to retire, is inspiring him to, leave home and make his life perfect. And so the Pandavas all leave. As soon as they heard Krishna has left, they all leave. Oops. So in this way, we can see that. Oops, sorry. So one more point is how it's meant for conditioned souls and for Paramahansas. In other words, actually the Bhagavatam is such an elevated literature. It's actually meant for those who are Paramahansas. In other words, who are not under the modes of material nature, who are without any envy, who are already liberated. In other words, they don't have any material desires. Like Shukadev Goswami. He's a liberated soul. So when he spoke the Bhagavatam becomes very nectarian because he's already liberated. So this is the Bhagavatam meant for people like that. But it's also meant for conditioned souls like us. And we have so many stories to make that point, right? We have the Dhruva story and the Daksha story. So much conflict and fighting. Because it's meant for us, right? To teach us a lesson, how to live in this world, how to deal with, things, different situations. So it's meant for both. And of course, it establishes Krishna as a person. I mean, most of the chapters the majority of the chapters in the Bhagavatam is on the 10th canto. It's a big section of the Bhagavatam, right? Which is establishing Krishna as a person. But the entire Bhagavatam is establishing God as a person, right? So I think it's time. And thank you very much. If anybody has any questions, can actually give me a...
Hare Krishna Mataji. You mentioned that there's another pastime of Radharani tying Krishna. Would you elaborate on that, please?
Unfortunately, anybody knows that story? I actually don't know that story. I think it... Do you remember that? Yeah. So it's one of those stories where when Radharani enters, she enters Man, it's called. In other words, she's angry with Krishna for something that that he's done to her, and so she ties him up with her veil to So it's a very, that's what Maharaj gave, not much about it, I guess, Okay. But there's many such stories in the Bhagavatam.
Yeah, I was just, I haven't
I mean,
heard,
not in the Bhagavatam, but in other books.
yeah, I haven't heard that particular one. That's why I was asking about it. Thank you.
Shai, Hare Krishna, Matsuji, thank you for your wonderful class. I think you have two very well-known sons, and who are. So my question is kind of related to that point of where people develop faith in what somebody says, because you mentioned Srila Prabhupada, but some of us here may not know who Srila Prabhupada is, so it's like, why should we have faith in somebody we don't know? And so we see in life that faith is usually developed when you feel that someone loves you, like your sons. And we see children when they go to school, they say, my mommy said this, my mommy said that, as if it's divine revelation, as if it's fact. So there's a saying, nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. And so our faith is usually, in Srila Prabhupada and in the Srimad Bhagavatam, is usually it's usually strengthened or weakened based on you mentioned the character of other devotees. So my question is related to that. Maybe you could speak about that. It's not a really clear question. It's more like a kind of observation that our faith is usually strengthened or weakened based on the character of other devotees. So sometimes we're in conditioned souls, you mentioned, and we all make mistakes. But sometimes people allow one mistake to break their faith in Srila Prabhupada. So maybe you could speak about how we could maintain our faith and etc. I'm not sure if the question was clear, but maybe you could share your realizations.
Yes. So it's through association of devotees. When we associate with devotees, then we and read Srila, we get this natural inclination to want to, know Krishna and to read these books, in the association of devotees. And that's how we can develop love and faith that may break at some point in our life, right? It's like something that has to be developed. But when we have the faith that it is something valuable, at least with some faith, if we go, that this is something very valuable, then if you go with that faith, then over time it will develop. It's like an arranged marriage. I had an arranged marriage. And, you're basically going in the dark. You don't know who that person is. I talked to my husband like 5 minutes or something, and we were fixed up, right? So you're going with that faith that it's going to work, right? Because you know that it works, it generally works. Most of the time it works, right? So you go with that faith that it works. And then love develops after that, after you get married, because you don't know that person, right? So we may not know Srila Prabhupada, but we know, we hear, we are an association of devotees, and we see examples, wonderful examples. We have still on the planet so many wonderful Srila Prabhupada disciples. They give us that faith, and we see their life completely transformed. We know who they were and what they are today, right? So we develop that faith. Just like you're going on the highway and you lose your way, and then you stop at a gas station and somebody tells you, okay, this is the way. And he gives you certain markers. Okay, when you go to this gas station, it'll look like this and that. So you see the first marker and you say, well, I know I'm going the right direction, right? So that faith develops like that, gradually, gradually, gradually. And sometimes our faith does get shaken because we think, due to some things somebody may have done. And you think, okay, how can a Prabhupada, somebody who's a follower of Prabhupada, act like that, right? But then, our relationship is with Krishna, right? And so many other things are there to show that, okay, the scale is heavier on this side, okay? In other words, getting advice from senior devotees. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Mataji, for a wonderful class. Would you please give a round of applause to her? Wonderful round. So the next part of our program will be the prasadam, which is on the third floor. Please do come back at 7 o'clock. We have kirtan, and as I mentioned, at 7:30 we will be having a Damodarashtakam, where everybody will get a chance to wave a ghee wick to the Lord. Also, I wanted to announce next weekend we have a very special guest coming to our temple. His Grace Amarendra Prabhu is going to come in here. He is going to be giving classes on Saturday evening and Sunday evening. So please do make your way here. He is a very amazing speaker. He was here last time in July, and we got a very good response. So please do come back.
Downstairs. I'm already.
Where is Chaitanya? He's going to. So you want to do one doing next week? Yeah. Okay. Yep. Where is Chaitanya? 6:45 Arawood. Call him. He's going to what? Okay. Why don't you get come here. We can play. He knows. Come on. I don't. You can. Where is Chaitanya? Adam, you have to come here. Okay. Just tell me like when to start. Are you serious? I don't think so. Do I just like?
Okay, but you have to also go for drama practice.
Okay. Can you both do 15 minutes today, please? Because it's not some play practice. That's why they need help. Now they are delivering. Please do. Yeah. Okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Kishore Kishori Jaya Kishore Kishori Jaya Kishore Kishori Jaya Kishore Kishori Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Jagannatha Jagannatha Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Gopal comes. Huh? Can you play Madanga for me for a bit till Gopal comes? Well, that doesn't matter. Just play for me for like a fun 10 minutes or till. Yeah, just play for me. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Adaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya
Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gaura Bhaktavrit Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasade Gaura Bhaktavrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Everyone together Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare, everyone together, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Everyone. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare
गौ ब्रह्मानंदे
नमामीश्वर सच्चिदानंद रूपा रसकुंडला गोकुल व्रजमाना नमामीश्वर यशोदा पियोलुकला गवमाना परं दृष्टमात्या ततो धृतगोव्या रुदन्तमुहुर्निद्रा यद्मनुजाता करं पूजयगमेन रामगणेत्या मुहुर्निद्रां यमाम मुहुश्वासकं पातिरेखा सुकान्ता स्थिताग्रगदामोदरं भक्तिवर्धा इति दृक्ष्वनीलाभिरानन्दकुण्डे स्वगोत्मां निमज्य तमाख्यापयन्तः तेर्जितात्वा पुनः प्रेमतास्तं सता नीतिबन्धे भक्तेर्जितात्वा तास्तं सता वरं देवमोक्षं मोक्षवदिन्दो नाचन्यं विरेहम वेषवतिहो
कुण्ठलैस्मीकर तस्य गोप्या मुखाम्बोजमत्यन्तनीला भृतां कुण्ठलैस्मीकर नमश्चम्बिता मे भरतधरं मे मनस्य विरास्तं बालं वचलाभ्य
Not right now.
नमो देव दामोदरानन्द विष्णु प्रसीदभ्यवदुष जलविमग्ना दामोदरानन्द विष्णु कृपाकृष्णविश्वति दिनाम्बजानु ग्रहणेशमा मध्यमे दक्षिवेक्ष कुबेरात्मजौ बध्नामितेव जग्रा त्वया मोचितौ भक्तिर्भजौ कृतौ च रामितेव जग्रा त्वया मोचितौ कृतौ च तत्प्रेमभक्तिं स्वकं मे प्रयाच्छ नमोक्षे ग्रहो मे स्थिर मोदरेह नमस्ते सुदामे सुरवितिरामे त्वदीयररायत विश्वसदामे सुदामे सुरविति नमो राधिकायै त्वदीयप्रियाय नमो नन्दनीलाय देवाय नमो राधिकायै त्वदीयप्रियाय नमो नलिनाय देवाय नमो राधिकायै त्वदीयप्रियाय नमो नन्दनीलाय देवाय नमामीश्वरं सच्चिदानन्दरूपा यत्सत्कुण्डलं गोकुल व्रजमानम् यशोदा बियोलु कैलत्तवमाला परं दृष्टमात्यर्थतद्वेतगोप्रा दाबियोलु Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna किशोरी जय किशोर 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 किशोरी जय राधा दामोदर राधा दामोदर राधा दामोदर राधे जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेव जय सुभद्रा जय प्रभुपदा 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 जय गुरुदेवा 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 जय निताय गौरंग जय निताय गौरंग जय निताय गौरंग हरि बोल जय निताय गौरंग निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल जय राधा दामोदर की